Welcome to another episode of Love Living Local 315. We are your hosts, Scott and Kelly Greats, and today we are joined by Ray Durso, President and CEO of the Genesis Group, a community connector, regional ambassador, and lifelong champion of Central New York. From civic leadership to radio and beyond, Ray's mission is simple: bring people together, make a positive difference. Welcome aboard, Ray.
Greetings and Happy New Year.
Yes, Happy New Year.
Ray is fresh off a cruise.
I am.
Yeah, and you came in talking about cocktails and dreams, and we were talking about
Snow.
and
More
ice.
snow and counting down the days until we
But
get
he's
away
back
for a
now.
little while.
He always comes back.
Would you believe me if I told you that I was guilty for being there?
You felt guilty?
In the Mexican Riviera on a cruise while our area was being blasted with snow. I was guilty.
I wouldn't be.
Especially seeing my son shoveling while watching on the house camera.
Guilt is a wasted emotion. You've been with Genesis Group since 2000, so going on 26 years. What pulled you into that line of work, and how has the mission evolved through the years, Ray?
So I was asked to be on the board when the organization was coming together in the year 2000. And it actually went to, before that, in 1999, the founder of the Genesis organization was Joe Carucci. Joseph R. Carucci was a developer, a real estate developer, and community advocate for more than 40 years. And I'll tell you how Genesis got started and then how I got involved. But he basically was having conversations with people that were not happy to see all this, not working together. Utica versus Rome, Oneida County versus Herkimer County, and just not on the same page, and spending more time at each other versus, what are the possibilities that we could be, working together. And Joe brought together some community leaders, some college presidents, some folks who had been in business for quite some time, and said, what do you think about this concept? And, went from one person to the next, and it just grew that more and more people said, hey, we like this concept. And Joe had just finished a term as chairman of the Greater Utica Chamber of Commerce, being on their board. And he said, the Chamber of Commerce is one thing, but collectively as a region, we need to be banded together. We need to be stronger. We need to, be more focused on a regional basis. And from that conversation, bringing college presidents and people in business and healthcare and throughout the area, asking them what their thoughts were, and everybody said, yeah, this is a great idea, was born this concept of, hey, let's start this organization. And there were some people in the area who's like, whoa, we already got organizations, we've got this, we've got that. We don't need another organization. So Joe, and others, it was a very big challenge for them to get through that. But once they educated people and sat down, like we're doing here, just having a simple conversation, this is who we are and this is why, then people bought into the concept. Oh, okay, you're not trying to take us out or replace us or anything like that. You're not stepping on toes. We see what you're trying to do. Then more traction. The organization got more traction, and this core group of people started to get together on a regular basis. And former president of Utica College at the time was Todd Hutton. Todd really was a founding father, one of the founding fathers with Joe Carucci, as well as Peter Cahan, who was the president at SUNY Poly. And we started to have meetings every Tuesday and Thursday at 7 a.m. at Utica College, 7 to 9. There was about 25 people. Think about that for a minute. Every week, Tuesday and Thursday, from 7 to 9, whether it was January or July, people came together. And that was the start of putting this organizations together. And they called themselves the Core Group. And from there, we became a corporate 501c3 and had a director. It was sort of like a part-time position for a director. And I was asked to be on the board because the Core Group was the driver. And so I became a member of the board, and after probably the first year or so, they saw that there was a need to have someone being a director's position. So what I did is I was the director part-time while I was working full-time. And for 4 years, I did that. until the organization started to take off. And I resigned my position from full-time, and I became the full-time director, CEO, president.
Yep.
And here I am entering my 26th year.
Wow.
And that's really how I was able to be given an opportunity because of the needs that the organization had. And here I am today looking back at all that we've been able to do.
Well, it's too funny. That leads us into our next question. Your role is bringing people together. What does that actually look like on a day-to-day basis for you?
It's not an easy task. It's
Lots
not
of
an
phone
easy
calls,
task.
lots
It's a
of-
diverse group, too. I mean,
It is a diverse group, but think about it. The Genesis Group is volunteer-based, and it's volunteer-driven. I am the only person who is a salaried employee. So there are hundreds of people who are part of this organization but invest their time. And so that's not easy because take yourselves, for example. You're very busy. You're entrepreneurs. You have family. You have commitments. It's not an easy task. So you're looking at the community and you're saying, okay, we are inviting people from their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s. And we have a gentleman who is 97 years young, who has been involved for 26 years. And he's still on the board at 97 years old. And so you look at the community and you say, okay, we want to bring people not only as board members, but as committee chairs, heading up different committees, programs, projects, but they're busy and they've got a lot of commitments. And so you need to educate. I mean, I really, in my history here, is educating people is key. Whether you're asking them to be a part of the organization on a regular basis, whether you're asking them to be an investor and to fund the organization, the more they know about who you are, what you're trying to do, helps make the task a little easier.
What does success look like? We're coming off of 2025, going into 26. As you reflect, like what makes a year successful for the Genesis Group?
Bringing people together at what we do. So we have a lot of events, and we've actually cut down the amount of events because they can be tasking. I hate to keep using that word, but they can be tasking on your volunteers and on your system. So what we try to do is have events that are meaningful throughout the year. And instead of having so many events with a sparse crowd at each, we have fewer events with very good crowds. And you want the right people there. You don't want to do an event just to say, hey, we're doing an event. But your question to me is, what does success look like? So if I can say to you, in a given year, doing 5 to 7 major events and having your attendance at 300 to 500 people, those are successful events because you brought people, especially when you do them on a morning time, and especially our upcoming event, our very first event of the year, is always our regional legislative forum. People come from Otsego, Madison, Herkimer, Oneida counties throughout our area, and it starts at 7:30 in the morning. Well, it could be snowing, it could be ice. You don't know what the weather's going to be looking like. But they're there because they care about the area. So when you're doing events throughout the year and you can see people attending, people being recognized, people being acknowledged, you're exposing the greatness of our community, and you're doing it in a significant way. And you look back and you say, I'm still hearing people talk about events that I did 3 or 4 months ago. That's success.
Cool.
So you just mentioned the legislative breakfast coming up. What are some of the other community events that you do that people look forward to every year?
So some of them are in person. Some of them are online initiatives. Like after we have the legislative forum, we have a developers forum where you bring together people who are investing and developing projects, economic development, what's happening in our cities and our counties that is impacting people, because economic development is real estate, it's developers, it's banking, so there's a trickle down effect, and it includes a lot of people. Then you get into healthcare. Healthcare is a multi-billion-dollar industry. Having forums with our healthcare leaders, whether it's from Bassett, Little Falls, Rome, Utica, Oneida. There's a lot of synergy within our healthcare leaders. So those are some of the events that we do. We also have a teacher appreciation initiative, which recognizes teachers, and that's always the first week in May. And we partner with WKTV, News Channel 2, as well as First Source Federal Credit Union. And we get a lot of exposure from that because you are impacting a lot of people.
Sure.
And so those are things that people look forward to. We also host a 9/11 program every year, whether it's on 9/11 or close to 9/11. This will be the 25th anniversary. If you're in that generation and you remember where you were on 9/11, 2001, that's 25 years ago this year. And over the last several years, it's been very difficult for us to put that event together. And here's why. When an unfortunate event happens in this country, we as Americans come together and we're stronger than ever. But days and weeks and months go by and people forget about it. And now there's generations like my own children who don't remember, and it doesn't have any meaning to them like it does for my wife and I or us. And it's harder to get people to say, why should I attend this event? So about 10 years ago, my co-chair, Frank Coots, who is a retired major of the New York State Police, he and I have been working on this project for many, many years. About a decade ago, we said to each other, it's time to change things up a little bit. We will always make the 9/11 the Day of Remembrance. We'll always make that the centerpiece of this program and this breakfast. But we changed the focus to put an emphasis on appreciating first responders. Because now that affects everybody. It impacts everybody, and people are aware of what that is. And we hear more and more from first responders how they're treated out on the street. And, I don't have to tell you, it's not fun, it's not safe, it's not good. And for them to be able to be respected and appreciated by their community, now that's a reason for someone to come.
Such a good pivot. And, excuse me, the comparison I always make is Pearl Harbor. I was born 30-something years after Pearl Harbor, and it seems like forever ago. But for me, growing up as a child, we learned about Pearl Harbor, but it didn't have,
significance.
So now I look, we're this will be 26 years. Like it's kids being born now. It's like Pearl Harbor.
And we were in DC. When
we were
9/11.
We were less than a mile from the Pentagon that day.
Yeah, that was my first teaching job. We were down in, we'd moved down there, 5 days prior to it?
8 days.
It was crazy. 3rd. Yeah.
So you have a story to tell.
For sure.
It was the first time in my life, first and only time.
He had not gotten a job yet. We went down there because I got my first teaching job. So here we're in this
just out of
huge
college.
city. This tragic event happens. I don't know how to get home because all major highways are closed so that first responders and emergency vehicles can get.
We didn't have cell phones either.
We didn't have cell phones. That's another thing that's crazy. And it was like, I had no contact with him. His families had no contact with us. It was wild. It was absolutely crazy.
I was alone in the apartment we were staying at and on the balcony, and it could smell the smoke from the Pentagon, watching the news talking about this other plane that they think is heading back towards D.C. And meanwhile, there was just fighter jets circling D.C.
And I'm having students called out of class because their family members could have been affected or worked in the Pentagon. It was crazy.
But to your point, the first responders, it's I'll botch the quote, but when everyone's running out of a building, they're running in.
Correct.
For sure.
Remembering that. Yeah. And that happens every single day on much lower levels, obviously. But, others ahead of self, truly what first responders do. We met through all the work you do with schools, which you touch on the teachers, but you do a few different career days throughout the region. You want to talk a little bit about how you work with kids?
And that leads up because in September we have the 9/11, and then in November it's all about education with American Education Week and our celebration of education, which is a national initiative, American Education Week. It's celebrated across the country, but we have one of the largest events, at least in New York State, that we have been told, even from level of Board of Regents, that pays attention to teachers and their impact. But leading up to that and throughout the year, I'll never forget this. This happened very early on, nearly 20 plus years ago. I was at a meeting with some teachers, and they asked me, would I be interested in speaking to students? And would I be interested in maybe bringing some other career representatives and maybe starting like a career day? And I said, let me think about it. And I said, let me get back to you, because what I didn't want to do was I didn't want to walk into a gym or an auditorium with 300 or 400 students or more and stand at a podium and just preach to them, especially
Kids didn't want that either.
8 o'clock in the morning. And I said, that's boring.
Right.
They're going to be half asleep. You're not going to get their attention. So a couple of days later, I called the educator back, the principal actually, and I said, I have an idea for you. And I said, what I'd like to do is I'd like to bring about 30 to 40 career representatives. And I said, give me some round tables, and I want round table, immediate, intimate interaction with the kids. And I'd like to have a wireless mic, and I'd like the PA system with a boombox. At the time, we're talking boombox / radio. And they said, why the boombox? And I said, well, I'm going to play music. I said, once all the students are in the gym or auditorium, I said, we're going to be out in the hall. And once I know they're in there, we're going to walk in, and I want the music really loud. And it's going to be music that relates to them. And she's like, I don't know why you're doing this. And I said, trust me, just watch. And the reason why I continue to do that today is because you only have one opportunity to get the attention of students in high school. So if you're going in there at 8 a.m. or 8:30, and there's 300 or 400 students in a gym or a auditorium, and you got all these people, their first thought is, what are these old people doing? Why are they listening and playing our music? We have their attention, and they could be laughing at us. They could be laughing with us, which most of them do, and they clap. But right off the bat, we have their attention. And then for the next couple of hours, it's all about having their attention, asking questions, and getting them to ask questions and talk, and trying to make an impact. And they started out as career days or career fairs, college, life-ready programs, whatever you want to call the program. Again, it goes back to your question about what does success look at. When you have a high school student coming into a program like that, not knowing what they want to do for their career, but maybe giving them 3 or 4 different ideas, that's success. Yeah. And then they go home and they talk to their family members and say, hey, I talked to a physician today, or I talked to a computer programmer, or whatever the career might be. I enjoy doing those. And I appreciate people like yourself who come with us so that we have that opportunity. So I will be calling you for the ones that we have planned this year.
Honestly, the event you do in Herkimer, I don't know if it's always in Herkimer.
It's at either Herkimer High School or Herkimer County Community College, but it includes all 9th grade students from all Herkimer County schools.
Which includes Old Forge,
Town of Webb.
Remsen.
1,000 students.
This is a production.
I'm sure.
Every freshman in Herkimer County, it's like 1,000 plus kids. And it's in 2 different shifts that they come in, and just the logistics of bussing them all in and being a part of it. It really is not only cool to be a part of, but it's cool to see. So I'm in insurance. No one wants to be in insurance, right? I joked, we're all here. None of us planned on it, so if you fail at everything else in life, you can always be in insurance. But we get kids that will come over to the table reluctantly, and then when I start talking not so much about insurance, but how the business works and leveraging time, and am I working right now? Like, I'm not at my agency, but I have people who are, and if they're selling policies, and I'm getting paid even if I'm not there, and then if how do you scale that? And all of a sudden, these kids' eyes are like, oh, wow, like you can make like real money doing that. And I'm like, it's not so bad, right? And so the point being, there's numerous careers there that kids probably would never think about wanting more information.
Glamorous. It's not a glamorous thing, but
they get exposed in a short period, and it's a great platform that you put together.
Yeah.
So you can tell just by the way you're speaking now and from your work that you're very optimistic and positive. And I'm sure that you need to be. And how has that mindset helped you with challenges like you spoke at the beginning? I'm sure that you have got to get past certain naysayers or challenges. And so How does that help you? How do you?
It's been something that's been sort of my own philosophy my entire life. And having been with my wife now, we've been together for 32 years and married for 30. I'm usually told to shut up at 6 o'clock in the morning because I have too much energy. And, it's like...
That sounds familiar.
Oh, my God. I'm like, just let me have a cup of coffee.
Yeah, she's like, I haven't even made it to the kitchen for the first cup of coffee.
Yes.
And you're already wound up. And it goes back to my days of being able to make a choice. Everybody, in my mind, everybody has a choice. When you step foot out of your bed, you can put your foot on the floor and you could say, okay, I'm going to be positive. And I'm going to face this day, whatever comes my way, I'm going to face it in a positive way. And I'm going to try to be happy, and I'm going to try to be helpful to others. And I'm going to take this day on in the best way possible that I have the ability. Or you can get up and you could get up late, get to work late, be miserable, and just whatever happens and complain about it all day. We have that choice as human beings. Mm-hmm. And for my entire life, I have always taken the positive approach to live my life. And I think it has a lot to do with my upbringing, my faith. My faith is my foundation for my life, no matter if it's got to do with my personal life, my professional career. My faith is my foundation. And that has a lot to do with me being a strong A-character personality and being so positive. And I think that translates into being the director and CEO of a positive organization. That actually helps.
Yeah.
I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, yes, I think you answered it very well.
We talked about this with Ryan Miller was in recently, and there's just certain people that are super connectors, you know, and you are certainly one of them. I'm not sure if I wanted to meet anybody in this region that I couldn't contact you and you'd make that introduction. Yeah. And that comes with time as well, but it also comes with reputation, right? Yeah. And it's not easy, especially when you're dealing with hot button topics, important issues, but also dealing with politicians. And, there's just different.
And super powerful people are people that think that, their way is the right way. And then all of a sudden you get all these people together and they can learn from each other and help each other.
Let's push you a little bit, Ray.
No, that's fine.
What is the hardest part, right? I mean, there must be moments where you're like, ugh. Right? I mean,
or something you don't look forward to.
Well, I'm glad you asked that question because I was going to respond to something you both have mentioned before, is that once people are educated as to who we are, what we're doing, what our mission is, our vision, our focus, it's hard to not want to be involved. You get excited, okay? And you say, we're actually trying to make a difference here, folks. This is not difficult, and it's not controversial. It's not political. And that was something that was very important to our founding members, is that it's all about the community agenda. And we tried to avoid the politics of the community, the politics of controversy, but rise above it and look at people and trying to make that difference. And people recognize that, especially donors, because donors don't want to put their money or their investment in controversial situations. But there's a thing out there in this community that if you're called by Ray Durso, you get the Durso hook. It's hard to say no when he keeps calling you, per se, like for career days, right? It's like, because what we're doing is fun, it's positive, and it's good. Yeah. So yes, there are challenges in our community, but it's also the way you go about it that can help make that difference.
And I can see that. Like, there are certain times, not with your event, but with other events, sometimes that Scott will, volunteer for, and he's like, God, I have so many other things that I should be doing today. But as soon as he leaves a career day or an event where he's helping other people or just talking, you can see that he feels so much better about himself and his mission. Right. So it really is something that everybody
You're really good at setting people up for the future contact. Mm-hmm. So it's, you're always like, hey, before you even leave the event, I'll be getting a hold of you. Like, okay. And then you got that high of the event and you're like, sure, Ray, whatever you need. And then you get the email and you're like, oh, I think I committed to that.
Yes, I definitely thought I would do this, but yeah.
So you're good at what you do, my friend. Obviously.
It's something that you have to keep at. You got to keep communicating with people.
Yeah.
The more notice you give people, the better.
Sure.
For them. You have to be respectful of people's schedules and people's commitments. And that's something that I've learned over the years, especially when you invite someone to come to a meeting, to be a part of something, to attend a breakfast, to attend a luncheon. I always respect people's time. And people will say, hey, this started at noon and I'm done at 1:15. How'd you do that? It's because I got started. As soon as you walked in, I was ready for you. Yeah. And I respect your time, Scott. And I respect your day today. And that, people appreciate that.
So let's move. We've talked about politicians and stuff like that. Let's move to small business owners. And you're chair of the Mohawk Valley Chamber Alliance, correct?
Yes, I am.
So what do you believe small businesses need most right now?
Each other. I would say that I've been involved with the Chamber Alliance of the Mohawk Valley for about, I want to say almost 15 years. And I've served as their president and chairman for many years, I think because nobody else wants the job. But it's been an honor for me to continue to serve. And every year I tell them if there's anyone else wants it. But it's really being, bringing people together from all of our chambers of commerce. But I think to answer your question is before the pandemic, you could always be able to say that running a business is not easy. And it's something that you have to give your entire being towards. And you being in business yourselves can understand that. During the pandemic, if you did not make adjustments to go along with the changes that the pandemic brought, you either are no longer in business today or you made those, you adapted and are now being able to, get along with your business. But it's still not easy. Being in business is not an easy thing to do. The bigger the business, the bigger the challenges. And so what I preach to chambers of commerce that are in our alliance is that we need each other. And for Chamber Alliance directors to meet on a regular basis, which we do, we learn from one another. We learn what each other's our strengths are, what our weaknesses are, how we can listen to one another and say, hey, the Rome Chamber is doing something this way, but the Herkimer County Chamber is doing it this way. Where can I learn from that and how can I do it differently? And so being able to pick up the phone, being able to meet in person, focusing on the needs of your members and your businesses, okay, is really important. I know that chambers of commerce do a lot of social events, but you have to be very cautious with social events because there becomes a liability when you're doing a social event. Whether you're a chamber or not, there is a lot of risk there. But what I like to share on a regular basis is that listen to your members, your businesses, and as an organization, as that alliance of other chambers of commerce, what can we do, especially here now in 2026? Just listening to you about your businesses, what are your needs? Whether it's related to health insurance, whether it's related to workforce investment, whether it's related to educating, your employees or whatever it might be, I believe I can answer your question. Our role as the Chamber Alliance is knowing that a Chamber of Commerce or one of its members knows that they can pick up the phone, they can attend a seminar to learn. You can never stop learning because you have to listen to the needs and be there for them because they need you.
Yeah. So I've been in sales my whole life. I'm a sales trainer. Kicked off a new session with some trainees yesterday, and that's day one. If you want to improve the quantity of your sales or your success, you have to improve the quality of your questions as well as the quantity of your questions. And, in life, no matter what you do, the bigger the pain point is that you can solve, the more success you will have. And, you are a liaison who asks really good questions. How do you bring people together? You ask questions, right? You don't come in with your agenda. You find out what their pain point is, and then you connect them to someone who has a potential solution for that. And then you're the hero, but all you didn't have the answer. You just brought two people together who could help one another.
Community connections.
Yeah.
That's really, being a community
which sounds elementary when I say it, but that is not easy, and And we won't admit it, but we're a very ego-driven society where we want the answers, we want the solution,
or
we
you're
want it
even
now.
afraid to say,
and
I need help.
but
there's a lot of people that have
just-
a hard time with that.
just ask the question. So, all right, I don't want you to go too deep here, Ray, but just rapid fire. You're involved in so many things, right? So you're writing articles for newspapers still. You're doing digital work. You're hosting a radio show. So just give the audience a list of what you're doing and then what the best way to connect with you is.
Well, I find that one of the things I enjoy doing the most is being out and about. If I'm sitting at a desk, at a computer, sometimes it's necessary and you need to do it. But being out and about in this forum, having a conversation, and whether we're in downtown Utica, downtown Oneida, downtown Rome, downtown Herkimer, downtown Old Forge, downtown Cooperstown, okay, that's my territory. It's the Mohawk Valley region. And I feel that we are stronger when we work together. And if I have the ability to be that person who's out there bringing people together, whether it's in a school or in a healthcare facility or in a business or in a restaurant, no matter where it is, being able to connect people, to listen, to communicate is number one, something I enjoy. But with all that I do, the day-to-day, we're based at SUNY Poly. We have an affiliation with SUNY Poly because of Peter Can, one of our former members, our founding fathers. We have an affiliation. SUNY is our fiscal agent. So I'm at SUNY Poly on a regular basis. So I'm out and about and meeting with people. But I think attending meetings and listening to people, making good things happen is my mantra. And no matter what I do, where I do it, how I do it, is just focusing on the community's agenda. Did I answer your question?
Yeah. Give me some logistics though, as far as like if people want to connect with you, like because you're writing articles, you're doing the radio thing, so like
so I got a call yesterday from the director of the Ride for Children, Ride for Missing Children, and he said we have a new initiative. We're going to announce it soon. We'd like to come on your radio show to do it. I'm here. I'm available. That's what the show is for. Boom. We set a date. He's coming on. So I'm there. The show is a resource. Our general emails, we have nearly 20,000 business and community leaders who get those weekly emails, and it's a resource. So that's something I monitor. In 2020, I started writing opinions on behalf of our organization, and I'll tell you how it happened, okay? So in May of 2020, Dave Dudayak was the opinion page editor, and he had worked for the Observer-Dispatch for 47 years. Yeah. He got a call one day from the Gannett Group and told him that the opinion page was going to be eliminated from the Observer-Dispatch, hence he wouldn't have a job anymore after 47 years. So he made the decision to retire, and he started telling people about it. So when he called me, I said, how can that be? An opinion page is a part of a community. And he said, well, probably, you're going to get the hot dog now, just the bun. And, you're losing that hot dog in the bun. And that gave me the idea that Genesis could fill a need in the community. I don't have to follow the political stories, and I don't have to get involved in the political, controversial stories, because they're always going to be there. But maybe I could write an opinion on behalf of our organization and take the positive approach. And that's when the Genesis Group View and Opinion began in 2020. And that is something that I do on a regular basis. It takes a lot of time because you have to be very careful. You have to do your homework. But a lot of people see that. A lot of people read that. A lot of people appreciate it because it means a lot to this community and to any community, not only us as natives who read these articles, but also for people who might be passing through and, hey, what's going on in this community? And they hear about what's happening here. If we can help be a part of that, then it's worth spending time. So that's a specific thing that I enjoy doing.
So you mentioned that you spend a lot of time at SUNY Poly on the college campus. What would you say to young professionals thinking about staying here versus moving away? Or how would you convince them to stay here? What do you think we offer here that other places don't have?
So I think that's a universal challenge because every young person, including myself, and probably you as well, we always have this thought when we hit the age of 18 to 22, 23, that the grass is greener on the other side.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And whether we have traveled the far and been out into the world and seen what the world looks like, or we haven't, it's being a part of being young. And sometimes we feel we have to do it. But for those who can recognize it at that age, that there is a lot to offer in our area, good for you. Because I have included in the last several years as a part of our career programs, getting to students in high school and saying, yeah, I know. I was at your age one time, and I said, I have to go to Florida. I have to go wherever it might be because it's going to be better than here. But you don't have to. You're thinking it, but it's not something you have to do. Why? Because what are you looking for in a community? You're looking to get a good job. We have them. You're looking to be safe. We are a safe community. Okay. I want things to do. We do have things to do.
Mm-hmm.
This community is all about tradition. We have a foundation of family, tradition. Those are great morals to build your life on. And so those are things you can sell to others as to why you'd want to stay here. I want to tell you, if we have time, a very funny but a very important story. A couple years ago, my wife and I had gone on a trip, and it was a cruise a few years ago. And we were on one of the islands that the cruise had stopped. It was a Royal Caribbean cruise. I can't remember the name of the island, but we were only there for the day. And you get there early and you get your chairs, the sun is shining, and I sat on my chair, my wife's on her chair. Where are you from? You start talking to people around you. And so I said to the gentleman to the next to me, now I'm in the middle of the Bahamas, okay, which is 1,500 to 2,000 miles away from Utica, New York, in the Mohawk Valley. And I said to the guy who was sitting at the chair next to me, I'm from upstate New York, because when you say New York, people assume you're from the city. I'm from upstate New York. Where are you from in upstate New York? I said, just outside of Syracuse. Where outside of Syracuse? I said, Utica, New York. A guy about 30 to 40 feet from me yells out, you're from Utica? I run the Boilermaker. After the Boilermaker, I go get Tony's Italian tomato pie. I go to Hemstrasse to get my Half Moons.
Yeah.
And he says, oh, by the way, if we have a chance to visit Utica, he goes, by the way, I'm from Buffalo. He says, we like your chicken riggies and your greens. Okay? I'm 2,000 miles away. And, you realize what this area is known for, the quality of life that we have, our food, the Boilermaker race. Mm-hmm. And it happens all the time.
Yeah.
It really does happen all the time, not just to me, but it happens to people who are from this region. Mm-hmm. So those are lessons we want our young people to know, that this area has a lot to offer. It has a lot that we're known for, and the grass might not be greener. The sun might shine, right? Sometimes more often.
The grass might be greener, but
to put a bow on this hour,
life.
Stay in Utica, but go on cruises frequently. With Ray.
See some sunshine and some green grass every once in a while.
Yeah, I mean, it's also something to be able to say to somebody that we have the fortunate opportunity to have 4 different seasons, because the snow that we're having this winter is plentiful for the Tug Hill and the Old Forge market and Snow Ridge, the snow ridges of the Mohawk Valley. So that's an industry in itself that depends on the weather. So
we got a rapid fire.
Yeah, let's do it.
Go
we got
for
5 minutes, Ray.
Go for
I
it.
need you to be as quick as possible here.
It.
All right. So love reading bios. Ray's was great. We can so much we don't have time to get into, but he's met all sorts of famous people. But the one that stood out to me, 8th hole, Twin Ponds, hole in one, right? So people golf their whole life. They never get a hole in one. I just try to hit the green, right?
Yeah.
So you're a Yankee fan, Yankee game, or round of golf?
Round of golf.
Describe the Genesis Group in 1 or 2 words.
Community connector.
What is your favorite community or one of your favorite community events to attend here?
That I put on, or that
Nah, just in general.
In general, I would say the Boilermaker.
Yeah.
What's one of the most memorable people you've ever met or interviewed?
I had a great conversation with George Steinbrenner, owner of the Yankees.
The old man.
The old man,
That's
the father.
Yeah.
I met him at Vernon Downs. Had a great conversation with him. Had a great conversation with Vice President Dick Cheney, Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton. There's been a lot of people. I've met Whitney Houston 3 times.
Yeah, you're flexing on us.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I know there's one answer here, but there's been several people that I've just really enjoyed the opportunity.
I think if we do this for another 30 years, no one will have a list like that.
Yeah, that's impressive. It's an impressive list.
And
governors.
If you could instantly fix one challenge in the region, what would it be?
To get people to listen and be educated before they express their opinion.
So Ray Durso, the Genesis Group. I mean, so many words to describe you, just positive, genuine, authentic. And obviously in this area where people's BS meters are really high, you can't do what you've done for close to 3 decades now, bringing people together without being the real deal. So we appreciate you being here and all the work you do, Ray.
I appreciate the opportunity and the platform. And I will give you my final remarks because it has a lot to do with what the focus of Genesis is. After looking at the first 25 years and where do we go from here, every community has its challenges. There's not a community in the entire world that is immune to challenges. But we also have opportunities. And we're not going to be able to fix government. We're not going to be able to lower taxes or fix the roads. There's always going to be a challenge in every single city, town, and village. But the one thing that we as individuals will always have the opportunity to do, and in my tenure as Genesis and my existence on this earth, I will never give up trying to make a difference. And that's something that I'm looking forward to sharing with people as we go forward.